Hi, everybody. It is Thursday. Oh my goodness, I am super tired. So today, the fourth grade teachers, me and Mrs. Gass, we went to school today. We cleaned up a bunch of stuff in the room, and we took all the stuff out of your desks and put them in bags for you, so that way when you come in May to pick them up, they are all ready to go for you. And I am tired. We did a lot of stuff today. My room looks kind of weird, and it was really weird being there without all of you guys. So yeah, it was a long day, and I am tired. I am gonna go to bed early tonight. Ugh, I need a nap. I'm pretty sure. So, well, here we go. Let's read some of this. So, I don't even remember where we were. Oh, they were in the lunchroom trying to figure out where she was going to sit. And the title of this chapter was Food Fight. So let's figure out what's going on. Okay. It says, Ross snickered and elbowed me in the shoulder. This is one fight I don't want to get in the middle of, he said. Me neither, I said. And definitely me neither, Evan said. While Kiki and Cheyenne stared at each other, no one seemed to notice that Azalea was off to the side, stuck there looking more and more uncomfortable. Guys? Guys! Please don't argue, she said. Unfortunately, they were too busy arguing to hear her. Kiki thrust her chin out. Azalea's sitting with me and my friends, and that's final. We really like her and have been friends with her ever since she got here, so that's just the way it is. Fine! Cheyenne said, almost yelling. She started to retreat to her table, then turned around and marched back up to Azalea. But you're sitting with us tomorrow, and there's nothing Kiki can do or say about it, and that's final. Whatever, said Kiki, raising her voice a notch higher than Cheyenne's. Come on, Azalea, let's go have lunch. No, thank you, Azalea said quietly. And this time people really paid attention. Kiki looked stunned. No? What do you mean, no? I mean, no. Someone said no to Kiki. Azalea put down her tray of jelly beans on someone's table and started to walk out of the cafeteria. Then she changed her mind and turned around. I appreciate everyone trying to be so nice to me. I really do, she said. Her voice was still really quiet at first, but it got louder as she went on. And I understand you all want me to feel at home here, but, well, to be honest with you all, the nicer you are, the less home I feel. She turned to Kiki. Thank you for wanting me to feel welcome at your table, but when there's an argument about where I should sit, it actually doesn't make me feel welcome. It makes me feel like some sort of prize that people are fighting over. To be honest, I never wanted you guys to treat me any differently. I just want to be treated like a normal person, even though I know I can never be a normal person. Hey, she sounds like me, Evan whispered, and he was absolutely right. Azalea just stood there, as if waiting for someone to respond, but no one did. Everyone just kind of sat frozen in place. The only person who reacted in any way was Kiki. She didn't move, but I could see her eyes. Ooh, my phone's ringing. I'll have to call them back. The only person who reacted in any way was Kiki. She didn't move, but I could see her eyes well up with tears. Finally, without a word, she went and sat back at her table. Finally, Ross's friend Brett broke the ice. So what you're saying is you want us to treat you like we would anyone else? Yes, please, Azalea nodded. Okay, I can do that. He stood up. Yo, zombie face, why don't you get a suntan for crying out loud? You look like a cross between a marshmallow and a stick figure. Brett laughed. Brett laughed at his own bad joke, and his irritating friend followed, including Ross, who had a little lame line of his own. Hey, tomorrow I heard they're serving zombie sweat for lunch. No thanks, I'll take the fish sticks. Of course, they all cracked up all over again. Azalea looked shocked. I was pretty sure that wasn't what she had in mind. I could feel my own zombie blood start to boil. I stood up. Hey, guys! She said she wanted to be treated like a normal person, I said. Brett laughed harder. Have you met us? This is how we treat normal people. Well, maybe that's the problem, I said. Maybe you don't know how to treat anyone well, normal or otherwise. Kiki stood up, her eyes still a little watery. I was sure she was going to back me up because she had just been made to feel a little vulnerable herself. But instead she said, Arnold, you're overreacting. People make fun of each other all the time. That's what treating people normally means. I stared at her. No, it doesn't. What Azalea was saying was that people who are different don't want to be treated differently. And you're right. Making fun of people is fine and fun sometimes, but if you make fun of someone because they're different, then that's wrong. I paused for a second. And this time, I'm sorry to tell you, your boyfriend is wrong, too. Oh my goodness. Arnold calling him out? I may have put a little extra emphasis on the word boyfriend, but I can't be sure. I waited for Kiki to say something, but she didn't. Instead, she just stared at me. So Ross decided to chime in. Whoa, Arnold, what are you, like, all of a sudden the expert on human behavior or something? I mean, you're not even human. He waited for another laugh, but this time, none came. I know I'm not even human, I told him. I'm an afterlife human, otherwise known as a zombie, and so is Azalea. And maybe it's time for both of us to realize that and go back to where we actually truly do belong. Wait a second, Evan said. Now, let's everyone just stop saying stuff that they don't mean. Arnold, of course you belong here. You're my best friend, and I need you now more than ever for obvious reasons. And Ross, if you want to be friends with us, you're going to have to stop saying dumb stuff. You too, Brett. Just everyone, please stop saying dumb stuff. Evan slumped back to his seat, exhausted from the effort of saying his piece, but it worked. Sorry, everyone, Ross said, shuffling his feet. Yeah, me too, Brett mumbled, staring at the floor. A small smile crossed Evan's lips. What about you, Arnold? Are you going to take back what you said too? About, maybe leaving? I hesitated for a second. I need to think about it. Well, don't think about it too long, Evan said. I'll try not to. Okay, I admit. I was being a little overdramatic right then, but it was how I felt. I wasn't sure right at that moment that I wanted to be there anymore. And I was also pretty sure that Azalea had made up her mind for good. Oh no. Good as new. For the next few days after the whole mess at lunch, things got back to semi-normal. People's attention started to turn to graduation, which was happening that Friday. Evan was busy sending out invitations to his end-of-the-year party, which was happening the night of graduation, and everyone decided that it was just best not to talk about what Azalea and I were thinking in terms of staying out in the world or going back to the territory to face our fate with the rest of the zombies. Then, on Wednesday night, the phone rang in our house. After my mom answered it, I heard her say, Arnold, phone call for you. Phone call for me? Well, that was a new one. No one ever called me. No one ever called anyone. People just snapped and chatted and texted and grammed. Except for me, because I didn't have a phone yet. My parents told me I could get one for the next school year. If I was still there, that is. I picked up the phone. This is Arnold Zombie speaking. I heard Evelyn cackling on the other end. Ha! So formal. Hey, Arnold, what's going on? Oh, not much. Reading and eating jelly beans, the usual. Cool. There were a few seconds of silence. It seemed like Evan was just unfamiliar with talking on a phone as I was. Finally, I said, Evan, did you call for any particular reason? I could hear him breathing. He couldn't hear me breathing, for obvious reasons. Oh, he said, as if that was a surprising question. Right, I did. Actually, what I wanted to know was if maybe you wanted to come to the hospital with me tomorrow after school. Sorry, what? I wanted to know if you wanted to come with me to the hospital with me tomorrow. It's my last treatment, and I thought it might be cool to have a few friends there with me to keep me company. Whoa, I did not see that coming. Of course, I told Evan. I'd love to come. He laughed. You'd love to come? Nobody ever loves going to a hospital, trust me. You know what I mean. Have you ever been to a hospital before? I thought for a second. You mean not including the infirmary where I was created? Evan laughed. Yeah, not including that. I guess not. I mean, we don't get sick, remember? What about when you ate chocolate pudding? Oh, yeah, good point. Evan was referring to the time right after I'd started in school when all the kids in class made me eat a bite of chocolate pudding. That did not go very well. But I only went to the nurse's office that time. I just had to rest and I was fine. Oh. Well, I think maybe it's time you visited a real hospital. A real live hospital. And you can come as my guest. I'd be honored. Thank you for asking, I said. And so the next day after school, Evan's mom picked me up in their blue minivan. Kiki was already in the car, and so was Sarah Ann. Where's Ross? I asked Kiki. Soccer practice, she said. Is it wrong that I was glad to hear that? I don't think Evan wanted him to come anyway, Kiki added. No comment, Evan said. Is it wrong that I was glad to hear that too? Sarah Ann was looking out the window holding her letterboard, but not saying anything. I was glad to see her. She was always calm. Hi, Sarah Ann, I said. She waved back without taking her eyes away from the window. It took about 15 minutes to drive to the hospital. Nobody spoke much, so we listened to the radio. It always amazes me how people don't like silence very much. I think silence is really peaceful, but the world seems to prefer noise. I'm not sure why. As we were pulling into the hospital parking lot, Evan's mom said, Okay, guys, this is how it's going to work. Once we check Evan in, he'll go to the treatment room. I don't think you will all be allowed in there, but we'll find out. If not, we can go to the cafeteria and get snacks while we wait. Afterward, we can meet up back in the waiting room while Evan finishes up. Sound like a plan? We all nodded, of course. It wasn't as though anyone was going to disagree, that's for sure. We walked into the hospital and went through a door marked Pediatric Oncology. I knew what that meant. Children with cancer. Sure enough, as soon as we got there, I saw a bunch of children. Some had hair, some didn't. Some were skinny, some weren't. Some looked sad, and others were laughing. They looked like regular kids mostly until I realized that they were in the same fight that Evan was. The fight of their lives. A young girl came over to us. She was hooked to some kind of machine, but it was the type that allowed her to still walk around. She hugged Evan, and he hugged her back. She was bald. This is Evelyn, he told us. She's my friend. We thought it was funny that our names sounded alike. Evelyn smiled shyly. Hi, she said, shaking hands with each of us. Sarah Ann pointed at letters on her board. Evelyn looked very confused. She wants to know how you're feeling, I translated. Oh, Evelyn said. Tell her I'm feeling pretty good today. Kiki shook her head. Oh, no, we don't have to. She can hear perfectly fine. She just prefers to communicate by pointing at letters. Oh, Evelyn said again. Then she looked at Sarah Ann. I'm feeling pretty good. Thank you for asking. Sarah Ann pointed to her letters again, but this time much slower so Evelyn could follow along. You are brave. Evelyn gave a short giggle. Not really. I'm just a person who got sick. Stuff happens to everyone, Evan said. He was addressing no one in particular, but I think he might have been talking to me. And we have two choices. We deal with it, or we don't. I agree, Kiki said. But some people have harder stuff to deal with than other people. But we deal with it, Evan repeated. Yep, Evelyn said. Sarah Ann picked up her board and pointed. It's called life. Everyone turned to me since I hadn't said anything in a while. Or semi-life, I said. Everyone laughed except Evelyn, who didn't get it. Of course she didn't get that joke. She doesn't even know Arnold. I think I am going to stop right there. I am going to stop. So we will see how the treatment goes and how the rest of the story goes. So we have 30 pages left exactly. So we've got this. So we'll probably finish early next week. I better figure out another book to read. Uh-oh. Oh boy, okay. Well, we'll figure it out, I guess. I guess maybe today while I was at school, I should have grabbed another book because I don't know what I'm going to read next. I don't know if I have any books at my house. I'll have to come up with something. Anyway, guys, I really hope that you have a great Thursday night, and I will be back tomorrow to add to our story. See you then.